We want to fix the problem, not the blame.
Yeah.
We want to, if somebody is having a problem with our installation, that's our fault.
Yeah.
It's us to fix.
Yes.
Because if you have a problem and you go somewhere else, we lose.
Yeah.
And ultimately, if there's a fire, like I said, everybody loses. So we drill down and we find out what the issue is.
In the solar industry for decades, we have been innovating and iterating and quickly deploying technology at a pace that could be considered inspirational. Others might consider it manic and frantic. In any case, there are times when we have really focused on quality. There are times when we have really focused on deployment. We're at a pace and a place in our industry where we have to be able to focus on both at the same time. I'm joined by JD Dillon, Chief Marketing Officer of Tigo Energy, to talk about just that conversation. We're live at the NABCEP 2024 conference. Our SunCast Media Zone is brought to you by LG Electronics Energy Storage Systems. JD, I've been waiting a long time to have this conversation.
Me too.
Of the many companies I could talk to about quality and ways to both improve and mitigate issues around quality, Tigo is one of the better choices, candidly. Because I know the team at Tigo. I have deep respect for the folks over there and the technological innovation that has come out of Tigo for more than a decade. And the other, which is the elephant in the room, is the number of issues that appear in the field when you've deployed as much volume of product as Tigo, perhaps years ahead of peers in terms of experiencing the inevitability of having product deployed in the field that has to encounter the doldrums, the evolution, and understanding how the product works on the bench in the lab versus how it produces, what problems it produces in the field and how to mitigate those. So you and I were talking at length about a process that I would say, woefully unfamiliar with, vaguely familiar with, if at all, this concept of 8D. I would invite you to go as deep on that topic as you would like, but I also want to use it as an opportunity to get into some of the issues that have been experienced in the field, the underlying problems that need to be resolved, and the way that Tigo, as a result, has taken a renewed approach to quality assurance in the field. So let's start with 8D.
You bet. Well, my goal is to embrace the elephant that's in the room. The 8D problem-solving process was pretty much invented by Ford Motor Company in 1986. It's been used in the automobile industry ever since. Automobiles, planes, all use it. All of the equipment that has to work its way down to zero defect.
Okay.
A plane crash is huge, and to me, a fire on a roof due to solar is just as huge.
Absolutely.
So the 8D process is a problem-solving technique. It's 8 disciplines, starts with D0 and goes 0 down to 8. And it's a step-by-step methodical way to analyze a problem and solve it systematically and forever.
Do you know the origin story of why it began at Ford? What were they trying to mitigate?
My grandfather would not buy a Ford.
No.
Quality problems.
Wow.
And actually Ford, look it up on the internet, quality is job one was a campaign that they had. And the Japanese were ahead of the Americans in the early 80s on cars in terms of quality.
Okay.
Kanban and Kaizen and all these other systematic improvements to the entire process, America was woefully behind.
Yeah.
So America had to do something. And I believe the 8D process was borrowed from the military.
Okay.
But anyway, they had to catch up on quality.
You mentioned embracing the elephant in the room. There have been a number of, in particular in the C&I space, where Tigo has been a dominant player for the better part of the last decade, and especially into the rapid shutdown era. There are fires that are becoming not frequent, but are more frequent than any of us would like. And as you pointed out, a fire on a rooftop is, to the public's eye, never the blame of a conductor company or a power conditioning company or a module company. It's the blame of an industry, right? CNN doesn't say that Tigo system caught fire. It says a solar array on target was on fire, right? Regardless of where the causality is, how as an industry do we embrace quality assurance? And how in particular at Tigo have you been able to, as the chief marketing officer in particular, go back to customers who perhaps have question marks around how their selection criteria is going in terms of their customers or their vendors? Talk to me a bit about the quality assurance progress and process inside of Tigo to address the field concerns that you've seen.
Sure. So it's funny when you were talking about that, I thought of it's amazing to me that a lot of us know the Boeing MAX 9
Yes.
plane had a problem with United and Alaska.
Yeah.
We didn't blame American Airlines. We didn't blame air travel.
Right.
We knew the exact model, etc.
Yeah.
But to your point, they don't know that when they hear on the evening news that a local big box retailer had a fire on the roof.
Right.
They know the solar guys did it.
Yep.
But to your question, which is more pertinent, the first thing is D0, we gathered information.
Yeah.
So when we released our F product, our F and 2F, that's the PLC wireline communications products.
Yeah.
We released them out there, and it's a way of meeting rapid shutdown without monitoring or optimization.
Sure.
And that was embraced by the industry in large CNI installations.
It was a quick deployment methodology.
Quick, easy, and nobody likes to meet code, so check the box for a lower price.
That's right.
When we released it, we were ignorant as to the complexities and the downside of installation.
Yeah.
I use that word in purpose, ignorant.
Yeah.
We knew how to install, but we didn't get that the installation could cause the problems they did. And in the worst case scenario would be thermal.
Sure.
So we came up with best practices.
Yeah.
I don't know about you. I don't read manuals. You can ask my wife. I've never read a manual.
Yeah.
I'm certainly not going to read a best practice.
RFTM exists for a reason.
And our guy, Greg Smith, he's got a hat that says RTFM.
RTFM, yeah.
He actually walking around with a hat on.
Yeah.
So if folks weren't reading the manuals and weren't reading the best practices, which is an augment to the manual, it was easy to make mistakes.
Yeah.
And we saw that we had some problems to our own product rollout.
Yep.
That was one of the problems we found. D2, by the way, is problem statements.
Yes.
Number 2 was if you follow 6 specific criteria, you have a higher risk of crosstalk, which leads to thermal, which leads to fire.
Okay, so crosstalk is?
Crosstalk is when 2 wires are too close, the signals interrupt each other, and in the case of a rapid shutdown, toggle on, off, on, off, on, off, on, off, on, off, on, off.
Sure.
You do that fast enough, heat, thermal, fire.
Got it. Okay.
And so that occurs, by the way, everywhere.
Yeah.
If you install
it's not unique to solar. Yeah.
No. You install a stereo, you put wires next to each other, you get crosstalk.
Yeah. And it results in feedback for a stereo.
And feedback for their stereo. And for us, it results in multiple signals on, off, thermal. And it's hot to the touch.
Yeah.
And you can actually feel it happening. And one of the challenges is because they're unmonitored, we don't even know it.
Yeah.
So someone buys our product from a distributor, installs it. We don't know. They have no reason to tell us.
Right.
It's up on a roof somewhere. It heats up. They have a problem. We don't even know they had a problem.
Right.
If they come to us, we can react. And in 2022, we had 36 cases that were crosstalk. And we saw a product released with a little bit higher failure rate. Now, when I say a little bit higher, I mean it was 0.37%.
Yeah.
As opposed to 0.12%. Now, in our industry, that's not bad.
Right.
Automobile industry, that's catastrophic.
Right.
We're not in the automobile industry. 0.37 is worse than we would like.
Yeah.
But it doesn't account for that many incidences.
Sure.
So we dug down deeper, saw that crosstalk was an issue, and realized there was a problem.
Yeah. And this is all in wired communications.
All in wired.
The F line of products.
Yes. If you use an O or if you use some of our competitor products
that are wireless,
SolarEdge and Enphase, you won't have a problem.
Right.
Or if you use our own O, you won't have a problem.
Yeah.
It's the F that's a challenge.
Yeah. And folks have implemented the wired communication application because it's less expensive.
Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely. But like any decision you make, if you're making a decision on your home,
Yeah.
on who to install a fireplace, you'll get multiple bids.
Yeah.
I don't go with the lowest one. So it's, you got to do trade-offs. You got to learn the trade-offs.
Yeah. You've got D0 asking questions. D2 was identifying the problem. I don't know that we've got time to go through all D8, but as you're sitting with customers, you are trying to really uncover where are the potential failure points that A, we could be responsible for, and B, we could have completely, we were uncontrollable by us as a manufacturer, but controllable by someone.
And in my view, that's where the big point is. We want to fix the problem, not the blame.
Yeah.
We want to, if somebody is having a problem with our installation, that's our fault.
Yeah.
It's us to fix.
Yes.
Because if you have a problem and you go somewhere else, we lose.
Yeah.
And ultimately, if there's a fire, like I said, everybody loses.
Right.
So we drill down and we find out what the issue is. Now, there's another aspect to this. Why don't we develop a product that is more immune from crosstalk?
Yeah.
Which we did.
Okay.
So one of the issues is if you have transmitters too close to each other, and that's where you get the interference. We call it a pure signal transmitter, the PST technology, that puts the signals in phase.
Okay.
So that they don't interfere, so that they don't cause crosstalk. Now, it's not really a panacea. I view it similar to a anti-lock brakes, or a airbag. You still want to drive well.
Yeah.
You still want to read the manual and follow it.
Yeah.
But if you're a little bit off, it's more forgiving.
Yeah. Well, let's talk about the drive well part, because to drive well, not only do you read the manual, but you go through certain decision criteria to ensure that you're driving in an appropriate way, within the bounds, following the rules. You have developed the Green Glove program. Tell me more about the specific steps and sort of design and specification criteria that you encourage folks, especially in the CNI space, to take into consideration.
The Green Glove program is 3 steps. Contact Tigo about a current installation or a new one, and we do a design review. So the most important thing to do is to make sure that the module and the inverter and the optimizers all work together, that they all are seamlessly integrating and working well. So we do that. We do that analysis because sometimes people are, as they're pushing the envelope on modules, they won't get everything out of the modules because the optimizer will hold them back.
Right.
So that's one of the points we check.
Yep.
And then the other points we check on the design is how close the wires are.
Yeah.
How you're establishing the conduits.
Yep.
And those are the most important areas. Then there's the install itself, where we have a phone a friend. We have somebody either out, if it's a large site, maybe.
Yep.
But if it's a small residential, we're not going to, it doesn't make sense to fly somewhere.
Sure.
But we have somebody on the phone with you. So they're there for the install. And then after the fact, after you commission, they'll look and make sure there's not anything hinky, to use a technical term, about the design, because you can see it on the module.
Yeah.
And we just passed, I just found out today, 156 installs.
Okay.
That are in the program at some point.
Fantastic.
And we have found mistakes from highly qualified installers.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's because of the subcons.
Yeah.
You know, they go down to the install and they send somebody out. So the other thing we do, and we're talking about it here a lot, is we have over 1,000 people that have taken our training.
Okay.
It's 2 hours. It's not hard. It's got Greg Smith.
It's free training with Greg Smith.
Free training with Greg Smith.
There you go.
He'll send you barbecue if you want.
That's fantastic. Where can folks, if they want to take this 2-hour training, where would they find it?
It's online. It's like everything else. Mm-hmm. It is 100% online, and it is an easy module that you can take. It's in our CMS, our content management.
And it's at TigoEnergy.com.
TigoEnergy.com, and it's NABCEP certified. You get continuing education credits. We believe MLPE design. When you see it,
to
be honest, and I'm going to deny I said this, you could take the training and you could design an APS if you so choose.
Sure.
I mean, it actually is there to help you with your MLP.
Yeah, fantastic. Well, one of the things that I appreciate so much about your team and also just generally about Greg is the focus on education and you're doubling down on the quality assurance. You know, it's we were talking a bit earlier about the reality that with the exception of like removing all the units from the field, Tigo is one of the first companies to reach this sort of aspirin moment, right? Or Tylenol moment. What was it? Where you acknowledge the problem, you recognize that you're years ahead and millions of deployments ahead of peers. And so it's natural that you're going to experience these problems. And instead of sticking your head in the sand, like other industry players have done when their technology has failed, Tigo has raised their hand and said, got this one. We're gonna fix it.
So I have to do my favorite Ben Franklin quote. If we don't hang together, we will most assuredly all hang separately.
Yeah.
He said that in the Revolutionary War.
Yeah.
Obviously, that means get together or else bad things will happen to all of us.
Yeah. What as an industry would you like to see in the parting moments as an industry for us to come together and really elevate the level of quality assurance?
More strict adherence to training. We fell short of making training mandatory.
Yeah.
That has a bad taste. It's pretty funny. Installers are an independent bunch.
Yeah.
Just walk around NABCEP.
Totally.
They're an independent bunch. You use the word mandatory and everybody will get repulsed.
Yeah.
That's not a good thing. And they do have continuing education. They're all doing it here.
Yep.
But making training much more part of the culture.
Right.
In some companies it is, and some it's not.
Yeah.
And in the one it's not, they hurt the ones where it is.
Without pointing fingers, I've seen companies boast about being NABCEP certified when really the person in the company that's NABCEP certified is the owner who became NABCEP certified maybe a decade ago and hasn't stepped foot on a site, let alone a roof in the last 5 years. And I'd love to see more companies taking the steps that I see folks here taking, which is to your point, getting certifications, getting a level and a quality of guaranteed service. I would go deeper, and I'd love to at some point with you on how we as an industry can raise the bar. Thank you for sharing with us here at the Media Zone and actually being vulnerable and about speaking about this topic.
My pleasure.
JD Dillon is from Tigo Energy. You are watching us live at the SunCast Media Zone, brought to you by LG Electronics Energy Storage Systems here at NABCEP Conference.